All right, baseball fans, another elimination video. We're going to eliminate the Expos here. They just lost in the wild card round to the Detroit Tigers. Had a chance. They were up 2-1, needed one more win. They couldn't win at home, and then lost on the road. They are a little bit better than they were a year ago when they missed the playoffs, though they started last year 16-3 and folded and missed the playoffs. This year, not quite a greatest record, but they folded at the end here in the postseason. It's a real shame. They got tremendous talent sprinkled through a lineup, but there's some dead spots. I guess let's take a look at the hitting. They hit 258 a year ago. This year, 255. Last year they had a 330 ERA. This year, 359. Not much change. JLU at 425 has a DH versus lefties. That was pretty nice. Jorgensen underachieved a little bit with just a 275 average. 27 RBIs is nice. Jerry White leading off and batting second all year. 215 at-bats. 4 homers and 33 RBIs for a guy who never batted below first or second in the lineup is impressive. You have Gary Carter get his rookie card in there. 8 homers to lead the club, 24 RBI, but just a 223 average. Really, Bob Bailey, year-long slump. Did get hot in the postseason for that one game, but a 189 average. Ron Fairley was also just 256. They made some nice clutch hits, but overall the statistics just don't look good enough for the talent they put together. Plus, they scored 223 runs. They gave up 207. But, again, they can't get past Detroit. Now, the pitching. Dale Murray, with a 103 ERA, pitched to this fascinating year. 113 ERA, 32 innings, 11 saves. Incredible. Teaming up with Bob Reynolds. Reynolds wasn't as successful. He was instrumental in the defeat in Game 4 out of the bullpen. First year with Dave McNally, and it didn't work out. We thought we could get him to the Expos as a younger pitcher. It didn't work out. He still get knocked around. He didn't work out. That trade for Singleton didn't work out for the Expos anyway, but this time we got him, Bob Reynolds and Dave McNally, in a package. Stoneman's getting up there in years, but he pitched well this year. And Marenko and Rogers were winning pitchers. There's a lot of promise with this team. We know, like, throughout the decade, they'll be getting better and better and better. Plus, of all the young ones we have added, we've only added Gary Carter. We still need to get Andre Dawson and Cromartie and Valentine and Larry Parrish on this team. With that, let's take a look at the Expos, eliminating them. Moved to the American League in the Green Mountain state of Vermont, just 2 hours south of Montreal. Didn't want to relocate them as the Washington Nationals, but they weren't in the National League anymore. This is going to be a good dozen players, 7 hitters and 5 pitchers, beginning with a really good Ron Fairley card. He had to DH all year, even as a 2 first baseman, because Jorgensen will be a 1 first baseman. Gary Carter could play outfield and catch and play third base. He actually split time between right field and catcher. Eventually, we'll just leave him a catcher. The great Jorgensen card, a 74, a 1E2 first baseman, a lefty who you don't take out of the lineup. If he does it for a full season, like 700 plate appearances, he's on the MVP list. But he only had 350 plate appearances. Hit by pitch machine, Ron Hunt delivers that, plus a 290 average. He's starting to lose the glove. Here's Bob Bailey. That's a great card, but he really slumped with it. We'll bring this card back next year. 26 home runs, 273 average, 88 walks. Bring it back and hopes it comes out of the slump. Jerry White. Surprise first choice of the young Montreal outfielders in 75. And he led the Expos in hitting, 299 average, but as a utility player. But it's surprising that White gets promoted before we promote Dawson or Cromartie or Valentine. White just blooms earlier. Then he starts to regress a little bit, I suppose. They went out and got this guy who keeps bouncing around from team to team. The Angels moved on from him. They sent him to Baltimore. Baltimore moved on from him. They sent him to the Expos. The Expos are happy that he can play center field with a -3 arm, at least until Andre Dawson arrives. And then they'll move on from him. They have Stanton for 2 more years. Now the pitching. Ranko, 73 card. So I have this card for 1 more year. Excellent card, starter 7. The incredible Steve Rogers rookie card. Can do anything you'd want except pitch on 3 days rest. Mid-season, a promotion, so he didn't pitch 200 innings, as you can expect. He wouldn't pitch this great ever again, but he'd pitched great throughout his career. Probably the most signature pitcher in the team's history, Mr. Expo, I guess. McNally had a rough year. He lost the Game 7 and a Game 5 to the Tigers. You figure McNally faced the Tigers a lot when he was with Baltimore. Didn't matter. 3.58 ERA in 259 innings. Won 16 games for the Baltimore playoff team of 74, so you'd expect him to fit in well with this playoff caliber Expo team. And the 2-headed monster in the bullpen. How do you get these 2 guys on the same team? And it worked perfectly because you pretty much alternated long relief outings if you needed them. If you needed a 2 or 3 inning save, didn't matter. You could bring one in after the other a day apart. Both guys with sub-2 ERAs. This is the only team in the league, once you add Steve Rogers here, there it is. It's the only team in the league that can boast 3 pitchers with a sub-2 ERA. So that's something, and they're bringing it all back. So in its first incarnation this past year, it was nice, but a little disappointed that they couldn't finish off the Tigers. They expect to go further next year. So now let's take a look at the 8 players from 72 who are leaving and see what's going to happen to the future of the Expos. All right, folks, we begin the relocation of these Expo players with Jesus Alou, who had a great career as a pinch hitter all throughout the 70s with Houston, Oakland, and the Mets. Missed some time back to Houston. We played the 72 card, a 312 card, did very well with it. If you want to put him on waivers because you fear he's too old, well, he's only 30, first of all. He'd have to have a card in 73. 74 and 75, there's no 76. He's okay in 74, 75. He doesn't offer any defense. He's a 282 pinch hitter in 73 if he has a card with either Houston or Oakland. We can check the availability of that card by looking at the roster sheet, or I think we can just scroll down to the extra players and see if he's got a nameless card. Funny part is Felipe Alou and Mandy Alou have nameless cards, but does he have a card joining his brothers? Has to have one for either Oakland or Houston. So we'll look at the Houston extra players. It's not there. The Houston everyday players. He's not there either. Oakland. Oakland's extra players. Would have gotten a World Series ring. There he is. So he's got a card. Let's assume for the moment he's a reasonable pinch hitter, just as he was in the campaign we just played, and we'll make him a keeper. It's very easy just to put him on waivers if they have too many guys they want to keep. Next up is John Bacabella. We might be nearing the end of his career here. The only BOCC from 63 to 74. Could play some catcher and first base. Did the 72 card. Has even more plate appearances than 73. Assuming he's got a nice split, maybe he hits lefties pretty well. Has a little bit of power, 7 home runs, played a full season almost. We had a 227 card, 549 OPS, and he improves those numbers. Well, the same consideration. This is going to be about looking at these cards. For now, we're saying we're going to keep them, but as we get deeper into the postseason, we start looking at these cards. We might change our mind. Next guy is Billy Grabarkowitz. Really wasn't associated with the Expos. Had this interesting knack of drawing walks. Had a great 1970 and an All-Star appearance for the Dodgers. 289, 399, 454, 852. Still viable in 71 because of the walks. 389 on base. 72, 265 on base. Now he's going to go to... Boy, if they made this 73 card, it's a 343 on base. 74, it's a 339 on base. And 75 doesn't exist. Got a lot of teams to research here. 73, California or Philadelphia to get waivers. So let's take a look and see if California or Philadelphia Grabarkowitz is here. He's not there. Not there. Let's see if he's with Philadelphia. As an infielder. Not there. 74 is. 74 card is available. But I don't know which card is in play. He doesn't get waivers because he doesn't have a card for the 73 season. That's a shame because that would have been a fun card to see with this high on base percentage. That's a lot of plate appearances to not get a Strat card, by the way. 238. Played for the Angels and Phillies. That is a real shame. I'm going to check one more time on California and Philadelphia. Let's see here. Just double checking. Should be pretty easy to spot Grabarkowitz. Let's look in the nameless cards. Not there either. California again. Not there. Wow. That's a shame. Well, we're just going to, since we don't have enough data to assume they even make the second card, they didn't make a card with 184 plate appearances. Excuse me. They didn't make a card with 238 plate appearances. We can't assume they make one with 184 plate appearances. And then which split they give you. So we're going to just retire him. When a guy's retired, it doesn't mean his career is over. We typically pull guys out of retirement each year in the draft, usually between like half dozen players have to come out of retirement because there's just not enough guys on the street that can do what these retirees used to do. Ted Martinez is next. He's going to have some nice numbers coming up, actually, with the Reds and Dodgers. So, 72 Mets, it's 224. The numbers are starting to get good, but they're not quite soon enough. 77, 8, and 9. Those are all nice numbers, and they're all for the Dodgers. Actually, didn't play for the Reds. It was Mets, Cardinals, A's, Dodgers. The 73 card can get waivers, though. We'll double check, make sure. For the Mets. And there he is. So let's put him on waivers with the 73 card. There it is. 2 keepers, a retiree, and a waiver. And the 5th hitter is Jim Nettles. Jim might be at the end of his rope. We thought he was at the end of his rope this past year, but we invited him back anyway. Actually plays to 81, but I think he comes out of retirement after a long... Oh yeah, he's all over the place. This 74 card may exist, but you don't need to get waivers to get it. You can just pull him out of retirement for that if you really want a 227 card. Can't get waivers, don't want to keep him. Not associated with the Expos even. Let's just retire our Jim Nettles. Alright, now 3 pitchers, beginning with Bill Stoneman. And he'll start to disappoint here. He's got a couple more years left. One of them's really bad. They both are. So yeah, I mean, you could give him a waiver claim. No one's going to take a 614 or 680 earned run average. But anyway, you like to populate the waiver wire. So we nearly need a 73 Expo card for him, and it exists. So he gets waivers because he has a Strat-O-Matic card. That's a shame. You know, in the reissue sets, there's going to be more cards. So there's probably a Grabarkowitz card in the 73 reissue with that high on base percentage versus this first edition set. All right, 2 more pitchers. First is Tom Walker. These guys really aren't that big a deal to lose. And frankly, I think they're just going to go rookies anyway. So here's Tom Walker. Had a nice 72. Yeah, he's got a nice 73 as well. Actually, he's a nice reliever over the whole period here. This guy's a keeper, I think. At least a waiver player. Has to have a card with the Expos in 73. Let's check that out. There it is. Let's get him back. So Walker will come back. And the last pitcher is Mickey Scott. Has a short career and short number of innings for the Orioles, and then later on, I think he pitches for the Cubs. 72 to 77. Or maybe it's the Angels. Baltimore, Montreal, and the Angels, not the Cubs. All right. Nice card in 72. Only pitched 23 innings, and Strat-O-Matic made that card. So sometimes it's just because they were forced to make a left-handed reliever, and he had the most innings pitched of any lefty reliever. So it got created. I think they created a Ray Bear card in 72 with 17 innings. So you'll get a card with extremely low innings. I think they had a Bob Didier catching card with like 15 at-bats. Pepe Frias had like 15 at-bats, got a Strat card one year. 73, he combines for 25 innings for 2 clubs. You can bring him out of retirement in 75 for the Angels. Actually, that would be pretty clever. It's not bringing him out of retirement, it's keeping him. Keep him because you want the 75 card. As a lefty? That'd be pretty dope, really. A 112 whip for a left-handed relief pitcher. I'm keeping that. I'm going to keep that from Weimar, Germany, from the Weimar region there. Weimar Republic. Okay. We're keeping him. That gives us 4. Yeah. Hey, look, and this, I think, might be the first occurrence in the offseason of a team that could go into a draft right like this. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to get on the phone. They can just pack their bags and do other things because they have the proper number of guys they want to keep, put on waivers, and retire. 4 guys, 2 and 2. Most teams, even if they have 4, 2 and 2, aren't content that the math fell perfectly, and they will often make deals anyway. So, but yeah, they'd be running back that same bullpen, and you've got a catcher and a DH versus lefties. Well, you can make Gary Carter a full-time catcher, get a backup, and that's your offense. So yeah, that's a pretty. Then you're just getting reserve players out of your rookie crop. So that's not a bad gig for the Expos. They easily could status quo and have a similar performance, you know, be right on the edge of the playoffs, make the playoffs. Maybe the goal obviously is to win a playoff series, but that's not a bad off season right there for the Expos. Thanks for checking out these eliminating off-season videos, and we'll see you next time.